Hi.
Hello.
Phil, Blue Wolf 7.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Very good.
You have just performed on a trio of Elektrons.
I have.
Do you want to just talk about a bit about your setup and how you get things running and stuff?
Yeah, certainly, yeah. I mean, I know the Sonic State guys are really familiar with these. The Analog Rhythm, the Octatrack, and the Analog 4.
You've actually named all yours. Bob,
Yeah. We have Rita,
and
Boo,
Rita.
and Rita, Sue and Bob too. Yeah, I'm a fan of old British comedies, so I have various characters from with Nail and I and Rita, Sue and Bob too, etc., etc. And develop a personal relationship with them. They've all got their own characters, you know. So obviously I use this for drums. It's an analog machine, but you can play samples as well, and you can layer a sample with it. Jenk has been through all of this for you guys.
So do you pre-program the loops completely before you go, or do you kind of mix it up?
What I've found is two things really. You don't know how many effects you're going to want, and you've no idea how much bottom end you're going to want. So I tend to have a skeleton, a very, very minimal skeleton. So what I've just done was 2 patterns. The whole thing was just 2 patterns, and then I'm elaborating on those. So I've got a fair idea. It's kind of like playing guitar in a band. You're never going to play it the same way, but you kind of know what the riffs are going to be and what the movement in the music is going to be. And I kind of approach it very much like that. I find if I pre-program everything and put what I call P-locks in, where you can lock parameters to steps, if I do all that in advance, the environment's different, the acoustics are different, it just doesn't work at all. So it really is a very minimal starting point. It's a hint. I have something that kind of hints at a direction, and I follow that and explore and then move on. So. In a pretty conventional manner at the moment. Just left and right from here, run straight into here, into A and B, and left and right from this, run into C and D, which is a pretty standard thing. I have these, I don't know if you know about these different tracks, but your tracks can be, you've got flex through machines. A flex basically is a sample that's held in memory, a static. You've got a compact flash card in the back, so massive samples. You can take material from the CF card. A through machine, you may want more and more effects, so you can daisy chain machines and add effects to them, etc. On this particular show, 1 and 5, I set up as recorders. That's recorder 1, that's recorder 5. And then a little tricky thing that I've done here is that these tracks are also recorder 5 and recorder 1, but then they're all programmed differently. So I've put different splices in and different scenes and different effects on there, so that I can very quickly jump. I can assign a scene, so like 13 will play back exactly what you're hearing when I flick over. That'll be another version of it, and so on, that'll be another version. And that's how I've approached this one. Wanted to get as much variety into 15 minutes as I could, really, so that was the idea. I wouldn't necessarily always do that, though. You've got, all the machines have got scenes or performance modes, but you can lock certain effects parameters. So, for example, this performance mode brings in delays and filters across the board, and I can lock that to anything. So when the machine's playing, I can jump to that, and I can ride that in the same way as these scenes. Again, I keep it really simple. The right-hand side of the fader is scenes 9 to 16. Left-hand side of the fader, the scenes 1 to 8. It's just logical, and it makes things really nice and easy. And you've got a very similar thing with your synths. With have your performance mode, so you've got a mix of you, and then you've got what are called performance macros. So they can go into that and they can configure a macro. Yeah, so you go into your various different macros there. Choose whichever one you want. So choose the delay, and then I can assign a group of parameters to be changed. So one knob controls a whole variety, a whole host of things.
Did you find that you had to kind of adjust how you work to work with the Elektrons? How long did it take you to kind of get into the workflow? Because some people find it quite difficult to get into the workflow of the machines.
I mean, I started with the mono machine and the machine drum, and it definitely does want to take you in a certain direction. I work with Se7en as well, and I find the chalk and cheese, very, very different things. As with a lot of people, my biggest restriction really with him is that the 4-bar pattern. There was a sample I was using on this section at the beginning, which was coming in every 16 bars. So I'll actually drop that down. So the pattern, the master's running at 256, and I'll run things at quarter time and things like that, and at half time, so you can get 8 bars and get 16 bars, and those kind of ideas.
So kind of a workaround, basically.
Yeah. But I'm definitely looking to introduce Se7en a lot more. Certainly for a longer set, it definitely be coming in there.
Se7en controlling the Elektrons or other external gear?
I've tried various different methods with it. The method I'm using at the moment is actually running it in line with the Analog 4. So any melodic content I can have pre-programmed, and I'll have a copy of that on Se7en. When I fire Se7en up, it takes precedent in the MIDI domain. So it'll take precedent, and then, I don't know if you know, with Se7en you've got accumulators and all kinds of random gate masks, and you can do all kinds of things. You can shorten and lengthen patterns, but it stays in sync. It always comes back and locks back into sync, which is wonderful. You can have diatonic harmonies. You do all kinds of crazy things with it. You can lock it to Locrian mode or Lydian mode or anything you want. So that adds an awful lot of melodic variety to the equation.